What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Halloween collaboration park. Unfortunately, Bryce is not available for today's video, and I don't think he'll be here for the next one either, but the one after that he should be back for the collaboration video, so you guys will be able to hear from him as well. But in today's video, I am going to be showing off what I've been working on for the last few days for the collaboration Halloween park, and I am really excited to show this off to you guys because last year on my Halloween park, obviously I had one main building which was the centerpiece to the park, and that building was of course the Haunted Mansion, which housed the station for the roller coaster, which was obviously the main thing from the park as well. So this year I wanted to do one better than I did last year and just make the best, most detailed Halloween Haunted Mansion house, or whatever you want to call it, as the centerpiece or the main attraction for this park. Now this won't actually be right there as you go in like Disneyland. It won't be like in place of the castle or anything like that. This is actually going to be off to the right hand side of the park, so I want it to be really prominent, something that the guests in the park are going to see and they're going to really enjoy and they're going to look at and they're going to like it. And it's obviously going to be the most detailed thing in the park, I believe, unless Bryce comes up with something even more detailed, but that's up to him if he wants to do that or not. But for me, this is going to be the most detailed thing in the park that I'm going to put into this, so this is going to take many hours of work to get completed, but like I said, it's not going to be the most prominent thing in the park. It's just going to be there. It's going to feel natural. It's not going to be placed anywhere that's going to catch your eye straight away when you come into the park, because I feel like this shouldn't be the main centerpiece of the park. We're going to have something else for the main centerpiece of the park, but I do want this to be something really detailed and something that all you guys are going to appreciate, hopefully. Now, I know by this point that I'm recording the audio, the Halloween pack or DLC has been released. At the time of building this, there was no mention of a Halloween DLC. I was kind of speculating myself that that is a possibility at this point, but I wasn't 100% sure that that was going to be a thing, and I didn't know that there was going to be pre-made pieces and all that stuff to make my own Haunted Mansion with. So I went ahead anyway and decided to knuckle down and get this done, so I had one ready just in case a Halloween DLC didn't arrive. As we all know, the Halloween DLC did arrive, and there is a really nice pack there now to make a Haunted Mansion, which was kind of frustrating to begin with. I was like, oh, I spent so long on this building, I didn't really have to do that. I could have just waited and used the DLC stuff. But thinking about it now, I'm really happy that I actually went out there, I spent the extra time and effort to build something that no one else is going to have in their park. This is a one-off building. This is, I think once this is completed, this is like in the 100,000 pieces range. So this isn't something I can upload on the workshop as a downloadable. Obviously, once the park is complete, you guys can download it. You can chop it up and have this in your own parks if you want to spend the time to do that. But I'm not sure I'll ever get around to doing that. So this, like I said, this isn't something that's going to be used in everyone's park. However, the DLC stuff, obviously loads of people are going to get to use that. Now that's not a problem. Of course, that's what it's there for. But I'm really happy that I actually built something myself, specifically for this park, because I wanted to put loads of effort into this Halloween park. It's Halloween once a year, so why not spend a little extra time and go all out for this? So I'm really happy that I did that, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this, the look of this, once it's 100% complete in the next episode. So we get about 70% complete during this video. The next episode, which will also be on this channel, we will finish this building. We'll start working on the surrounding decoration and some of the extra pathing in the park. One thing that did happen with this build, which was kind of a pain, was Bryce actually had the park at the point that I was building this. So I was building this on a separate park, and the whole idea was I'm going to get it complete and then I'm going to bring it over and I'll just drop it into place, and then we can both be working on different stuff at the same time. That was the plan, and it was a really good plan until I went over 40,000 pieces, which is obviously the blueprint limit, and I didn't realize that I'd gone over 40,000. I think I'd got up to like 70,000. And then I had to try and cut this up strategically into like 3 or 4 different pieces that I could easily put back together in the actual park, which was a pain. It was a real big pain. Like, I totally forgot that there was a limit on pieces. So it was rather annoying. Yes, I will admit it was very, very annoying. But that's what you just have to do, unfortunately, when it comes to Planet Coaster. Sometimes when you hit limits, you have to just chop stuff up and go on your merry way and get it done, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was annoying, but I had to deal with it. But that's what happens when you build a park or a building with loads of pieces. Of course, I could have used standard wall pieces here. That would have been like 50 pieces for the whole building, but instead I decided to make my own walls out of planks, as you can see here, which gives all that extra detail, all that extra texture and 3D-ness and goodness and creepiness. But yeah, it just adds up and up and up to crazy amounts. Sometimes I'll be building for an hour and then I'll check how many pieces it is, and it just blows my mind how many pieces I've actually manipulated into place during the hour or so. So it gets crazy. It gets really crazy, but I'm so happy, like I said, that I actually spent the time to do this, because in the end, hopefully you guys are gonna leave comments and say that you like this. I hope, at least, because it did take me a lot of time to do this, but obviously not everyone's gonna like it. But yeah, if you guys really like this and you guys want this, let me know. I will chop this up for you guys and I'll put it on the workshop in like 3-4 pieces, whatever it takes for you guys. But we'll see how many people want this for their park. I'm not sure, because there is obviously the DLC pack, and I presume most people have paid for that already, that not many people would be too bothered about putting this thing back together. It is a real puzzle. It took me a while to figure out how to put it back together, and I was the one that built it. So I don't really know how easy it's going to be for other people to do that. But if you guys really want it, let me know and I'll do that. But like I said, this is something that I'm really excited to put into the park. Now, the plan for this is to actually have this up on a nice hill, a raised hill. So obviously, like I said, it's not going to be the main thing in the park. It's not going to be the thing that you see as you go straight through the gates. It's not going to be right there in front of you like the Disneyland castle or anything like that. It's going to be offset to the right hand side, so you will see it as you go in, but it won't be straight ahead of you. But I do want it to be propped up on some sort of hill, maybe a rocky mountain hill or something, not too high, but just high enough to make it prominent to the point where you look up at it and it makes it look a bit bigger than it would if it was just down on ground level. So a little bit of forced perspective, like they would do at Disney, something like that. Put it on a little bit of a hill, you have to climb up to it, kind of go up a pathway to get to it. All that kind of stuff. Just adds a little bit more creepiness when you see in the movies, the dodgy, scary, creepy buildings. They're always kind of up on a little bit of a hill or a dirt mound or something along them lines. And of course, this is a Halloween build, so we want to make it as creepy as possible. And I think that that is going to work out pretty nicely, I hope. And of course, this won't just be a haunted mansion, this will be a functioning ride station as well. So we are going to be having some sort of ride in there. Obviously, before the Halloween DLC came out, before I knew that that was a thing, I had actually built something for this ride. I'd completed this building obviously at that point, and I'd started building a track ride for the back. I don't know whether I'm going to show that because it's not actually going to be kept. I'm going to be scrapping that and going more with a track ride from the DLC. But I did spend about 10 hours working on my own track ride, like a Haunted Mansion ride, on the inside and out the back of this once it was back in the other park, once it had been moved back across. Of course, I'm not going to keep that because now we have a proper Haunted Mansion track ride, which I'm probably going to replace that with, but a lot of the decoration that I came up with and did for that ride will probably stay. So I'll probably show you some of that a little bit later on, maybe in the next episode, so you guys can see some of that stuff. I'm not going to be scrapping all that because I spent so long doing that. But yeah, I actually ended up making a track ride from a roller coaster, and I slowed it down and everything so you could see all the detail and all that stuff. But like I said, we have a proper Haunted Mansion track ride now, which is really cool because you can actually spin and turn the little seats and stuff on the new track ride that we have available to us. So there's no point going with the worst thing, or the worst, what am I trying to say here? There's no point going for something that's not as good as what I can use, basically, with the DLC. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know whether that came across right, but that's what I was trying to say there. But that's going to be really cool because I'm going to have to learn this new track ride, work out how to spin the seats properly so you can see everything that I'm trying to show you guys while I'm sending you around this Haunted Mansion. It's going to be really, really cool, hopefully. So hopefully you guys are going to dig that. Obviously, once the ride is uploaded towards the end of this month, if we get it completed, I hope we do. We may go a little bit over schedule and end during the next month, but hopefully we will get completed before that. We're now starting to do the work on the second floor. The first floor is pretty much complete at this point. So this was day 2, I believe, of the main build of this mansion. We did have a little bit of a problem with this corner of the building. As you can see, I've kind of messed up the shape of the exterior here, and it took me way too long to actually work out what I'd done. Obviously, I put this nice witch's roof on here, which I will actually go in later and fix with like a plank roof and all that kind of stuff. I've kind of just left that for a second because I messed it up so badly and I didn't know how to fix it, and I needed time away from that corner of the building to kind of realize what I'd actually done wrong, so I could go back and correct that. So in the meantime, I have moved over to another section of the second floor where I'm actually putting in a little bit of a triangular shape roof. It's not an actual roof, it's like a sticky out section with a window. So this is obviously like a bedroom on the inside of here. This actually took me a lot of time to do, and actually later on, once the whole building was complete, I actually went back and made this a lot bigger, because once I'd actually finished the rest of the building kind of dwarfed this little section right there. So that section at the time looked really great. Once the rest of the building, which you'll see in the next video, it kind of looked a little bit too small, so I had to go back in and fix that, which wasn't really too much of a problem, because once you've built something once, you know how to do it again really easily. So to make that bigger wasn't really too much of a problem, but it was a problem at the time, so that's a thing. So as you can see right now, we are back with this witch's roof. Now, the standard roofing that you get in Planet Coaster is great, but sometimes it's not really what you're looking for. So I did go in here with some of these planks or driftwood planks and conjure up my own kind of rickety wooden Haunted Mansion-y kind of roof here. It just looks a lot more better. That's really bad English. A lot better for the Haunted Mansion right here than just the standard tiled roof that you get in the game. Not that there's anything wrong with the standard if you want to use that, but for me personally, I just wanted to go that little bit extra and make something that is kind of one-off for this building, and it looked so much better once it was in. That all the other pieces of roofing from this point on, I decided to make custom myself as well. So all of that standard roof you can see there is literally just there for reference. I will be covering that completely with my own style roof, which just makes this building stand out a lot more than it would have done if I'd left that standard roof. Now, that standard roof looks fine, but I just wanted to, like I said, make it a little bit more custom, especially for this collaboration park. This is something I only do once a year. This is obviously Halloween. It doesn't come around every month, so I want to spend as much time get as much detail as I possibly can into this building. And I would say probably this is the most detailed building I've ever done. I spent so much time on this building, probably like 25 hours on this one single building, I would say. I don't know exactly because I didn't count how many hours I did, but this is definitely my most detailed building. This is more detailed than Hogwarts for sure. Hogwarts is as good as people think it is. It's not actually as great. I actually don't like Hogwarts anymore. I'm probably going to go back and redo Hogwarts at some point. The main castle itself, not the surrounding stuff. I like the surrounding stuff, but the actual castle is kind of weak, and I'd like to go back and redo that castle at some point. Use it as a template, but build up on the detail. I think I can do a much better job of that nowadays than I did back then when it was alpha, I think. So that's something I do want to do a little bit later on, but for sure this is the most detailed building I've ever done, and this is the kind of detail I want to work on for all of my buildings going forward. So instead of just spending a little bit of time on buildings, I want to go the extra mile, especially for buildings that deserve the detail. I've said this before, not all buildings deserve this amount of detail. If I'm doing something like a Western buildings aren't heavily detailed like this. They're normally just kind of like wooden buildings with a few planks here and there, and a bit of a rickety roof and some foliage out the front. That's about it. Like, you don't need to spend 10 hours on a Western building because it just doesn't have that much detail in real life. But something like a Haunted Mansion or a main building for a station or something like that, you can spend the extra time doing that little bit of detail, and that's what I really want to do in the future. I don't want every one of my buildings to look the same, and I don't want them to have the same amount of detail. Some deserve more detail than others, some deserve a little bit less. So that's a kind of balance I really want to try and work on in the future, and that's something I really want to get down. So I know exactly how much detail each of my buildings deserves, because sometimes I put way too much detail into buildings, sometimes I underdo it. So it's just something I have to work on personally with my buildings in the future, I feel, and hopefully that'll work out great and you guys will enjoy it. So as you can see, a little bit earlier on we were doing that kind of sticky out bit of building for the roof up there, and we are doing kind of the same thing here but a bigger version for the side of the building. Now this is on the right hand side of the building. This actually won't be seen by that many people in the park because it's going to be like right to the side, as you will see a little bit later on once I've actually put this into the other park in its location. But I wanted something very satanic, something very witchy, if that makes sense. For this window, I didn't really know what I was going for to begin with, but once I started using these wooden window frames and putting them into place, it kind of just felt very witch-like, something very spooky. I don't know, it's just like a really complex looking window, and it gives off that kind of freaky satanic vibe, like devil worshipper kind of deal. When you look at this window, I feel, and that's exactly what I was going for. I don't really know what this haunted mansion is. I don't know whether this is a witch's house. I don't know whether this is a satanic person's house or a devil worshippers or whatever it happens to be. I don't know. You guys can kind of make that up for yourself, I suppose. But this definitely gave me witch vibes for sure when I was building it. So that's kind of what I went for the rest of the building. Now this building will get some foliage and obviously vines and bushes and creepy trees and all that kind of stuff, and the freaky lighting to go with it. That will just make it a lot more Halloweeny and spooky towards the end once it's complete. So a lot more work to be done on this building for sure, but this is coming close to the end of this right hand side of this building right here. We do a little bit of alterations here. I think it's a door that I end up putting here. So use this as kind of like a balcony area for the building. But as you can see, this building is growing super fast, and it's not a small building either. This is actually a very big building. It fits a station platform in here perfectly fine. I could probably put a small flat ride in here if I really wanted to. Maybe One of those top spinners would probably fit in here as well. It's that big on the inside, honestly, it's huge in there. So this isn't a small building by any means, shape or form. So I kind of overdid it with the size of this building, but once it's in place, it looks so good. So good. I'm really happy with this. I know that sometimes sounds like I'm kind of kissing my own arse about my buildings, but I guess I'm just really passionate about this building in particular, so I think that I'm justified in enjoying the build that I've actually made here, and I feel like I'm allowed to say that I like it. So I'm very happy, very happy with this build. Sometimes I'm not that happy with my work, but this one, I'm very proud of this, and I think you can probably hear that in my voice while I'm doing this voiceover, that I am very excited to share this one with you guys, and I think it just works really great. It's gonna work really great with the rest of the park. I hope so, at least. Because this is, like I said, probably the best thing I've ever built in Planet Coaster, so I'm really happy with it. But yeah, as you can see, there's a little bit of a door going in right here for the right hand side of this building. So we got one more thing to show you today, so we're going to hop on over and show you that little section of the build, and then that will be the end of today's episode. So the last thing I want to show you today is the left hand side of this building. Now in the next episode we will finish the roof and the left hand side and get everything finished up. Even till this point while I'm recording the audio, the back side of the building isn't complete because I need to put the track ride in there and I need to work out where the rest of the walls need to go. But we will get completed with the front section and the roof of the building by the end of the next episode. So what I'm doing here is putting a huge, and when I say huge I really do mean it, a huge roof on the left hand side. Now in my mind for this building I had a 3-story building for the left hand side of this building. So there's 2 floors underneath this. There's going to be a balcony here, and then there's going to be a massive pointy triangle roof that goes all the way from the front to the back, and then to the right of it, in that little gap down there that you can see to the right hand side between where the roof of the right hand side ends, there's going to be a huge tower in there, and there's going to be a 2-story tower with a roof on top right there. So there's going to be this huge roof and then the tower and then the rest of the building, and once those 2 pieces were in, that's why that first piece of roof, the little triangle bit on the right hand side, I had to make that bigger because it just looked so dwarfed. It was so tiny at that point because I'd made the rest of the building so big. But I don't feel like I overdid the size of this section at all. I think it fits perfectly fine with the size of the building. And everyone that's seen this agrees with me, so I don't think I overdid it, but it did look really strange that little section was tiny. So I did have to go back and actually make that a little bit bigger at this point. So at this point of the build, I've actually moved this into the park. This is actually in its final destination in the park itself. So this has now been placed on top of its little bit of a hill that I was talking about a little bit earlier on. As you can see, there is a little bit of raised land underneath here and a path that goes out the front. That will all be decorated as well, do not worry. So I'm really happy that this is its final destination. This is where it's going to sit in the park, and I'm really happy with how this building is coming out. Like, all this detail that I'm doing on this building just works so well. I love the wooden pieces in this game because you can mix the wooden pieces with the balcony pieces and a few of the architecture pieces as well. They fit really nicely together, and there's so much you can do in this game with rotating pieces and overlapping pieces. Like a lot of the little bits that I've used for the balconies and all of that, they're just wooden brackets that I've spun around and made completely new objects out of just by spinning them into new objects. It's really crazy how much stuff and how much detail you can get with tiny little pieces. It's the small pieces that are the finer details in this game, and if you can work with them, if you have the patience to work with them, they just look so great. So great. Alright guys, so that is the end of today's episode. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. We've got a lot of work done today on this Halloween mansion building, the main building for the park. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, let me know in the comment section. Remember to drop a like, feel free to subscribe. Part 2 of this building will be dropping tomorrow. So that is really nice. And after that, Bryce will be back and we will be talking about his section of the park that he has been working very hard on. And then we will continue on from there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the Halloween collaboration park so far. If you are, remember to drop a like, feel free to subscribe, and of course I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.